Hey friend, are you asking yourself, is this what I really want to be doing with my life? I don't think so. I think there's something else that I'm meant to be doing. Welcome to the Painting Your Path podcast, where we have real conversations about what it takes to step out, be bold, and do you. I'm your host, Clarissa Castillo-Ramsey. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to the Painting Your Path podcast. I'm your host, Clarissa Castillo-Ramsey. And if this is your first time tuning in, I just want to let you know that I am currently dealing with a vocal situation, in case you were wondering if I have laryngitis. So thanks for your patience as I continue to work through this health situation. And before we dive into today's episode, of course, if you've been here for a while, you know I typically have something to share with you. And I do have 3 events that I'd love to share with you before we get into today's topic. The first one is on March 14th, I'm doing my first ever art and nature watercolor session at Buzzworthy Beverages in Claremont. If that sounds interesting or if you're curious about it, read more about it in the show notes. On March 26th, which is Social Prescribing Day, I have an art prescription for you, which is to join me on Zoom for a free paint with me session. Take time for yourself and for creativity. Details for that class are in the show notes. And the last thing I'd like to share, which is today's topic as well, is that my Art of Becoming group experience is open, and it's for women in midlife and beyond who have a creative idea or passion project that they've had inside them for years or even decades. Get clarity to start your project, a path to actually finish it, and the confidence to get it out in the world. You can read more about that in the show notes. Okay, on to today's episode. And it's just me chatting with you today. So recently, someone shared with me that really hit home. She told me that she's been thinking about joining the Art of Becoming group, but she's not ready. And when I asked what ready looked like, she said 3 things: time, energy, and hope. And I thought this was one of the most honest answers I've heard in a long time. And I felt called to make an entire episode out of this. So today, I want to talk about this thing called readiness. Because I think many of us are waiting for a version of ready that actually never comes. When I read her message, I did not think she was trying to make excuses. In fact, I thought, well, shit, I know that feeling, girlfriend. I know what it feels like to not feel like you have any time or energy or hope to bring your vision to reality. I know that line of thinking many seasons in my life where I could barely get out of bed. I literally couldn't talk. Family needs came before mine. Lately, it's been a ton of grief with people passing away in my life. And the world that just feels like a shit show sometimes, right? And my brain said the same thing. Wait until you feel better. Wait until things calm down. Wait until your voice comes back. Wait until you have more energy. And if I'm honest, waiting for as long as I did in some seasons never once moved me forward. So let's talk about time. Most women I work with are full schedules, full responsibilities, full emotional loads. The shift isn't finding time. It's deciding what is worth protecting. And I don't mean that in a hustle or pressure kind of way. It's about alignment. And the Art of Becoming program is at 90 minutes a week. But to recalibrate it, if we wait for life to calm down before we invest in ourselves, we wait forever. And there's that saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So just think about that. Let's talk about energy next. This one I hold with real tenderness. As someone who is dealing with this voice thing, I'm in menopause. I'm 53. I'm 23. Shit feels different, you guys. And if you're struggling physically or psychologically, take that serious. Get support. See your doctor. Rest. And this program is not a replacement for therapy or medical care. But here's what I've learned personally. Energy doesn't usually come before action. Energy often comes from meaning, and meaning comes from engagement. And for me, the turning point in the hardest seasons of my life has never been a burst of motivation. It's been a decision about who I am becoming. There's a moment where I stop negotiating with my current circumstances and ask, am I going to let this season define me? Or am I going to define myself within this season? It's what I had to do dealing with spasmodic dysphonia and other challenging situations in my life. Being decisive shifts something, and almost always I pair that decision with a creative act. I go paint, not because I'm inspired, not because I have the energy, not because everything feels hopeful, but because painting gets me out of my head and focused on something beautiful and focused on getting back into my body, into using my hands. One brushstroke, one color, one small act of participation in my own life. Painting reminds me that I am still here. And then there's hope. This one is big because the world feels heavy right now. And some people might feel like doing some creative work feels indulgent, even irresponsible. To focus on something creative, quote unquote, for you when so much is happening. But here's what I believe. Creativity is not escapism. It's regulation. It's remembering who you are when everything feels loud. If sensitive, thoughtful, creative women stopped creating because the world is chaotic, who exactly do we think is going to build something better? Hope is not something I wait to feel. Hope is something I practice in color, in community, in choosing to show up imperfectly. Ready does not mean I feel amazing. I've got a ton of time. The world is stable. No, ready means I am willing to give myself 90 minutes a week, willing to take one small creative step, willing to decide who I am becoming instead of waiting for life to change first. I didn't move forward in my life because I suddenly had more time, energy, or hope. I moved forward because I became, and I made a decision on who I wanted to be in this world right now. And then I reinforced that decision with some small creative action. So if you're listening to this and thinking, I'll join when I feel better, I want you to gently consider this. What if feeling better is on the other side of just beginning? And if now truly isn't your season, if your body or your life needs a deep pause, honor that. But don't confuse not ready with afraid to begin. They are not the same thing. The art of becoming is not about having your life together. It's about deciding who you are becoming and taking one supported step in that direction. So again, the doors are open for this group program. And if this conversation felt it was happening inside of your head, that might be your answer. So details about the program are in the show notes. If it resonates, I'd love to have you. And wherever you are, I'm rooting for the version of you that refuses to disappear inside your circumstances. And until we meet again next week, keep painting your path.
Thank you so much for staying till the very end. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with a friend. If you haven't had a chance yet, please write a review and rate the show. I would love to hear your feedback. And I also have a free resource guide for anybody who is asking themselves, am I on the right path for myself now? Or is there something else that I really want to do? Maybe you're in that quandary. Maybe you're wondering what's next. So head over to the show notes and you'll see my Painting Your Path framework guide. Download it and have some fun. Just start exploring. And thank you again for tuning in, and I will see you next week.